Imagine this. What if the very people sworn to uphold justice were secretly twisting it, for their own gain, hiding a whole network of corruption behind their robes?
Yeah, it's a disturbing thought, and it's not just hypothetical. We're actually looking into a situation like that right now down in Florida. There are some serious allegations swirling
They're
around.
really serious about judges, potential criminal stuff.
Yeah,
It really makes you question the system's integrity,
absolutely. And our discussion today, it draws on some really compelling source material. It reads almost like, well, like a thriller.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hints of complex legal games, investigators digging deep, and this powerful judge right in the middle of it all.
Before we really jump in, though, we wanted to give a quick shout out to Mindful Moments.
Oh, right. Yeah, that YouTube channel. They do fascinating work using AI to analyze books.
Exactly. They offer these really fresh takes, encouraging you to think critically about stories, about information, kind of like what we try to do here, right?
Totally. It fits right in. Our goal today is pretty similar. Dissect this whole situation, figure out who the key players are, and follow the evidence trail, see where it leads.
Okay, so let's start with the investigators the sources introduce, Lacey and Hugo. They seem to work for some kind of judicial conduct board.
And right away, you get a sense of their partnership. It mentions soft jazz in the car, little details like that.
Yeah.
And Hugo sharing pet duties. It paints a picture.
It does. Shows they're established, work well together, but then enter Ramsey Mix. Or, well, Greg Myers, as he used to be known.
The informant.
Mm-hmm.
A disbarred lawyer with, let's say, a colorful past. Archeo indictment. Flipped for the authorities.
Right. So when he comes to Lacey and Hugo pointing fingers at a judge, well, you immediately wonder about his angle, don't you?
Definitely. Is he reliable? What does he want? He claims this judge, Claudia McDover, is corrupt. Says she's tied up with a developer named Von Dubose.
And that RECO background. It's double-edged, isn't it? He might genuinely know how these shady deals work.
Or he might just be trying to save his own skin. Or, settle some old scores. It forces you to weigh his words carefully.
So Lacey and Hugo start digging, but the sources mention they hit bureaucratic walls. Rundown office, budget issues. Sounds familiar for investigators, maybe?
Yeah, it suggests they might be under-resourced for something this big. And Myers, he insists on meeting face-to-face, off the record.
Which always signals something sensitive, doesn't it? Information he doesn't want written down or recorded.
Then later, on a call with Lacey, he gets cagey about this Von Dubose guy. Dodges questions. The plot thickens, as they say.
And the target herself, Judge Claudia McDover. The narrative paints her as hardworking, popular even, a circuit judge in Brunswick County. It went through a tough divorce, apparently.
But then there's whispers, rumors of a past relationship with Von Dubose. And suddenly, she gets into politics right after some big casino vote failed. That raises eyebrows.
It does seem like curious timing. The sources don't explicitly link her political move to Dubose or the casino directly, but the juxtaposition, it certainly makes you wonder.
Especially when Myers makes these very specific claims. He says McDover owns condos. Multiple condos.
In a place called Rabbit Run. And get this, he says they came via a Belize-based company, CFFX, potentially linked back to Dubose.
Belize. That sounds like trying to hide ownership, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And he mentions extra condos, too, ECs. Apparently, that's a known tactic in Florida real estate development for, well, illicit payments.
How does that work exactly, the extra condos?
Well, typically, the developer might build more units than officially declared, or transfer ownership quietly through shell companies, like this CFFX perhaps, to hide the real beneficiary. It avoids disclosure, avoids taxes. It's a way to funnel money or assets discreetly. Using places like Belize adds another layer of difficulty for anyone trying to trace it.
Okay, so that connects to the Tabacola Nation casino. It's making money, apparently a lot of it, but the county isn't seeing tax revenue.
Correct. And then Judge McDover makes a ruling allowing the county to put tolls on a new road. This happens after she supposedly had a falling out with Dubose over skimming profits from the casino.
Skimming.
Yeah.
Like taking cash off the top before it's counted.
Exactly. Classic organized crime move. So this toll road decision, is it revenge? A power play? Or just more tangled corruption? It fuels suspicion anyway.
And Hugo finds more, right? These lawsuits involving a Bahamian company, Nylon Title.
Yes, and the key thing is Judge McDover presided over cases involving Nylon Title, and according to the source, she consistently shielded the real owners, didn't make them reveal who they were.
That looks like a pattern. Shielding owners in Belize, shielding owners in the Bahamas.
It certainly suggests a potential effort to keep financial interests hidden. And then there's another layer entirely, Junior Mace.
The prisoner. He claims he was framed for murder.
Yeah, a murder case Judge McDover presided over. He insists he's innocent, says he was set up because he opposed the casino development. He thinks the real killers, maybe tied to Dubose, are still out there.
Wow. Okay, this is getting darker. And then the investigation itself takes a very dangerous turn.
It really does. Lacey and Hugo are lured out to the Tapacola reservation, supposedly going to meet an informant, remote location.
And then the crash. Head-on collision with a stolen truck.
It's brutal. The passenger airbag, Hugo's side, doesn't deploy. He's killed. Lacey is badly injured.
And their phones vanish. Their official BJC-issued phones gone from the scene.
That screams foul play, doesn't it? A stolen truck, no driver found, apparently. Tampered airbag, maybe the seatbelt too, the missing phones.
Lacey's boss, Michael Geismar, certainly thinks so, according to the source. He suspects it wasn't an accident.
And adding to the suspicion, the Tapacola police investigation seems questionable. The first cop on the scene gets replaced almost immediately by the chief's son.
Not a good look. It raises immediate concerns about impartiality, about whether they even want to find out what really happened.
So after the crash, we see attempts to piece things together through others. Conversations with Junior Mace's brother, Wilton.
And son Razgo's widow, Louise and Bennett, who ran against McDover in an election.
Right. They offer these fragments, hinting at organized crime, the casino's influence, Dubose pulling strings everywhere. But there's also this strong sense that tribal members are very hesitant to talk to outsiders. There's a wall there.
Understandable, maybe, given the circumstances. Meanwhile, back at the BJC, Lacey's colleague, Siddell, finds something.
Yeah, she digs into that Bahamian company, Nyland Title. Finds out they have a perfect winning record in Judge McDover's court. Never lost.
Undefeated. That strengthens the suspicion that something's not right there, doesn't it? That maybe the outcomes were predetermined.
It certainly points towards a deliberate effort to protect that entity and whoever is behind it. Which brings us back to Ramsey Mix, the informant.
He mentioned a mole, didn't he? Someone inside feeding him information about McDover.
Yes, and this mole supposedly got photos, even videos, showing someone who looks a lot like Von Dubose meeting the judge, exchanging a large bag regularly.
A bag, suggesting cash, or something valuable being passed routinely.
That's the implication. But Mix is careful. The information is coming through this mole indirectly. It highlights just how dangerous this whole thing is. If someone's secretly filming Dubose and the judge.
They're taking a huge risk. What about the reliability of this mole, though? Does the source give any hints?
Not directly about the mole's identity or ultimate reliability, no. It emphasizes the risk and the indirect nature of the info. Mix himself seems convinced, but he's also being very cautious about how he handles it, which tells you something about the stakes involved.
Then there's this trip to New York. Judge McDover and an associate, Phyllis Durbin.
On a private jet, no less.
Yeah.
And potentially carrying a lot of cash. Again, raises massive questions about their finances. Where's all this money coming from?
And the source material then gives us some backstory. Flashbacks revealing McDover and Durbin are actually in a long-term romantic relationship.
Yes. It shows their shared life, their motivations, apparently enjoying the wealth that seems to be flowing from the casino deal. There's even a mention of them buying expensive gems together.
More evidence of hidden wealth. It paints a picture of a very cozy, very profitable arrangement.
It certainly does. And remember that attempt by Lacey and Hugo to meet an informant inside the casino before the crash.
Right, that highlights the risks they were already taking, trying to get someone on the inside to talk.
And that meeting fell through, didn't yield anything concrete. Just shows how hard it is to penetrate that world.
You know, as we're connecting all these pieces,
Yeah.
the judge, the developer, the shell companies, the informant, the murder accusation, the fatal crash, it reminds me again of that channel, Mindful Moments.
How so?
Well, they use AI to untangle complex narratives in books, right? We're doing something similar here, manually piecing together these fragments from our sources.
That's a good parallel. And just like the kind of deep analysis we aim for in our discussions, putting these pieces together starts to form a really disturbing picture. Potential corruption, serious violence. It's deeply unsettling.
Okay, so let's try to summarize the key takeaways. We have this web potentially involving judicial corruption. At the center, maybe, this powerful, shadowy figure, Von Dubose.
Then there are all the suspicious financial trails, Belize, the Bahamas, Nyland Title, those alleged extra condos. And overlaid on all that, this tragic event targeting the investigators, Hugo's death. which looks very much like it was orchestrated.
Yeah, the initial investigation, even with limited resources, has definitely uncovered enough smoke to suggest a serious fire. It points to something deeply wrong.
The big question that hangs over everything is, how far does this go? This influence, this potential network. If people entrusted with the law are operating outside it, what are the real costs?
Especially when you consider the secrecy, the lengths they apparently went to, the violence. It suggests something much bigger, much more extensive than maybe even Lacey and Hugo initially suspected.
It leaves you wondering what else is hidden.
Absolutely. So, if this discussion has caught your interest, if it's made you think, we really hope you'll subscribe for more explorations like this one.
And please share this with anyone you think would appreciate digging into complex situations, trying to understand what might be happening beneath the surface. We'll put a link in the show notes if you're interested in related materials or want to support this kind of analysis.
But most importantly, perhaps, keep thinking critically. Question the information you get. Question the systems designed to protect justice. It matters.